working on some music.
Kamila Cardoso.
Zaya Cook very well-rounded
Zaya Cook on the line.
at the free throw line. Makes her first free throw. South Carolina up 18-8. Make it 19-8 with those 2 free throws. Zaya Cook now with 6 points. It's rather 7 points. And Kylie Watson trying to go coast to coast. Didn't happen. Pinto with the rebound and the putback.
Yeah, miscommunication because Mami here was trying to get the trap and no one picked up her person, Watson, on the way back.
Cardoso tries to get one inside, not able to. And of course, Cardoso, such an amazing talent for South Carolina. 6'7". Oh, and Mami here loses it. Sheer steals it, tries to make the layup, and there she is again for the putback. Pinto, no blocking out by South Carolina.
And Oregon wanting a block there, but she didn't give Mami here room to come down. Again, just smart kid, ball comes, cut to the basket, reading the defense, and great pass by Cardoso.
And foul by Pinto.
Oregon
Puts
foul
Mami here at the
number
line.
10, Shania Pinto, over first, 17th foul.
Mami here, or LA, had 5 points and 2 rebounds in yesterday's game against Buffalo. And she won't be shooting free throws. Hill at the top, dribbling around, doesn't find any room around Watson. Zaya Cook resetting the offense. Cardoso up, sets the screen. Cook tries to get around the trees, and that is blocked by Pinto.
Yeah, Tay gave her a little bit of look after she blocked that shot. Like, don't come in here, kid. You're just a little mouse. This is my territory.
Mami here gets fouled.
Oregon foul number 22, carrying.
But I will give Cook credit for challenging the big kid.
All right, sometimes you can get a rainbow shot over those extended arms.
And you see Mami here evolved in a lot of plays. They won't necessarily be things that you could measure on the stat sheet, but very, very important person for South Carolina to have on the floor.
That bench is so deep. So many players contribute for South Carolina in minutes in defense, and they have, as you've talked about 3 starting lineups on that team. 21-12 lead here with 3:25 left in the first quarter, and now Sanaya Rivers is into the game. South Carolina pressing. Watson gets the ball over the timeline. Over to Pinto. Pinto to Shear. Shear sets up the offense. And finding a room down the lane is Sydney Parrish, but she is unable to convert from the lane. Henderson over to Mami here. Mami here is shot blocked. Or perhaps a foul, and I believe there is a foul here.
Yeah, one of the things that South Carolina is going to have to work on is doing a better job of coming off, as you see the pass here and Mami here going to the basket. Defending the curl cuts, they really have struggled with that, and you saw the last possession down with the freshman Sanaya Rivers trailing just a little bit too much on that. But she'll pick that up as the year goes along. I'm sure Coach will tell her about it.
They do not forget. Sydney Parrish picks up her second foul, so she goes to the bench. And that's one thing that Oregon cannot do, is get into foul trouble today as she sits over on the bench. And We see Sedona Prince there getting a quick rest as well as we've mentioned with Sabali out. Sabali, excuse me. It's a very short bench, just 3 players on that bench today.
And Prince, she was key for them yesterday, had most of her 18 points in the second half. Basically that third quarter where she hit 3 threes that helped spark Oregon to their win. I don't expect her or Sedona Prince to be sitting very long.
You mentioned that third quarter, 38 points, ties a career high for the Oregon Ducks team for points in the third quarter. They were down but not out, and they came back to beat Oklahoma. Blocking foul.
Yeah, again, freshman trailing on the curl, and everybody else has to pick up and help her, and that creates that issue there.
Hall with the foul. And the turnover, and leading the way, Zaya Cook. She brings it back out. Wants to make sure they get a good look here. Cardoso, always a good look when you get it to her there, right?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see the bigs against the bigs, here for both these teams, and whether or not they cancel each other out, and see if the guards are the ones who decide this basketball game. As you see Sure there with a nice pull-up. Again, South Carolina just getting caught on those screens. You've got to get off and get around, jump to the basketball and be ahead of it on defense, because you're creating issues for your teammates to have to come and help.
Ami here. Shot from the elbow is no good, but they get the offensive rebound. There's Ami here in the lane. She travels. Turnover, South Carolina. South Carolina still with an 11-point lead with just under 2 minutes remaining here in the first quarter between this top 10 matchup. Great game and a great tournament. We've got 4 top 25 teams here today in this tournament, 2 top 10 teams here today. Just a wonderful tournament and just so many wonderful matchups.
And matchups, key competitive matchups early in the season, which is great for the fans.
Great for the fans, great for the game, and great for us, Helen.
I'm not complaining about being in the Bahamas at all and being able to do these games. It's a lot of fun.
Saw Kelly Graves on my morning walk along the path right on the beach. He was taking in a few moments. I know there's not a lot of time for coaches, but Boston's shot off the back of the rim. Sanaya Rivers gets the rebound, pulls it back, 15 on the shot clock. Rivers finds Boston open, and she doesn't get the shot to fall. Looked like there was something over the rim there on that one. Watson and Shearer both played 9 minutes for the Ducks.
Three-second violation.
Turnover, Oregon. 3-second violation. 42 seconds left here in the first quarter. Oregon's got to be tired already. We got, like we said,
we see them leaning down. This is a good look. It's only 42 seconds, though, to see what 6'7" and 6'8" look like.
Exactly.
Against 6'5" and 6'7" for South Carolina.
The long outstretched arms of Pinto guarding Boston. Oh, and Prince gets a hand on that ball, and able to recover that is Anaya Russell.
Here comes the screen on the ball with the shot clock under 10.
Cook. And it falls, bounces up and in. South Carolina up 27-14, 9 seconds left for the Ducks to get a shot off.
And Cook is so explosive off the dribble.
Double dribble for Sedona Prince. 0.8 seconds left. Oregon with the turnover, and you can see the frustration mounting.
It's going to be something to pay attention to, that Sedona Prince, Aaliyah Boston matchup. They've been, the camera's not on them, but they've been going at each other. Always
love a good battle. Some big names in the game here. Sedona Prince, as we talked about, didn't have her usual game yesterday, but she was finding Sabali, who was having the big game. And, you know, when you have the hot hand, you got to feed that player. And as we end the first quarter here, they don't have her services here today since she's injured. But South Carolina, a Final Four team last year. They won the national championship in 2017. Dawn Staley, the recipient of a $22 million 7-year contract extension as of last month. Zaya Cook over to the wing, and for more on South Carolina, we head to Danny Wexelman.
Well, you mentioned Dawn Staley, and we shared yesterday about how she shared her net from the 2017 championship season. And this season's motto is net worth. And we've seen that on some of the shirts and shorts that this team has been wearing. But basically what it means is they're trying to tap into the symbol of success in basketball and cutting down the nets. Each member of the team, the program, the fan bases, they all play a role in the goal of heading towards March. And every role is not the same, but every person has a net worth, Jill.
Thank you so much, Danny. It's such a great theme. They have a different theme every year, and an awesome theme this year. Prince had hit a 3 on the other end. South Carolina can't get anything to go, so Oregon has pulled within 11 points. 8:52 left in the third quarter, and Sedona Prince with the spin move and the fadeaway, but she misses that shot.
That didn't fall in, but I mean, look at her game. It's so smooth. I love watching her play.
One of the big-time stars in women's college basketball for what she does on the court and off the court. As Sedona Prince wins that battle against Aaliyah Boston.
So Cardoso, she's got to take that shot because they left her alone at the free throw line. Everybody's going to double Boston.
With 2 fouls, Watson, Parrish, and Sedona Prince. Certainly hoping, Kelly Graves is hoping that they don't pick up that third foul here before half. That's why Sedona Prince is on the bench, I'm sure. Cardoso with the foul. A lot of whistles as of late. 2:28 left. Gamecocks with an 8-point lead over Oregon. And another turnover. Miscommunication there between Shear and Hurst. The Mean Hero take the ball out of bounds. And South Carolina decides, Dawn Staley says, I've seen enough, let's call a timeout. Again, an 8-point lead here for South Carolina. The winner of this game gets to take on UConn in the championship game tomorrow. What a matchup that would be if we got number 1 versus number 2 tomorrow.
Well, I think that's what everybody is expecting. To have South Carolina play UConn. See here defensively, they're stepping it up here, and that's what they need to do here. Saxon with the steal. That is an emphasis for Coach Dawn Staley coming into this tournament. You see Boston rotating after the great communication from Henderson to go and switch on the player. So definitely something that they want to emphasize getting better at as the competition gets better as well. But
would be a marquee matchup for sure.
You know, we talked to Gino about that, and he's like, this is what women's basketball needs. They need these marquee matchups early in the season to whet the appetite of fans for, the regular season.
And then we've got that great January matchup as well to start off 22 with UConn Huskies traveling to Eugene, Oregon to take on the Ducks. I've got that one in my calendar as well.
And you see a lot of these top 10 teams, with that tough schedule, they want to get themselves ready. As you see me here with the 15-footer there. It doesn't really do you any good to play a soft schedule. You're not going to be exposed in what you need to be working on unless you play competitive basketball early in the season.
And you'll find most of the coaches in this tournament playing tough non-conference schedules.
And you also want to give your kids a taste of what it's going to be like playing different styles when you get to the NCAA tournament.
Oregon turns it over. Oh, and that was too easy. Lee here with the layup, and South Carolina all of a sudden is up 40-24, 16-point lead. Shear drives the lane. South Carolina says no thank you. Transition layup for Zia Cook, 42-24.
And coach trying to set up a set play here to calm his team down. Running with 1-4 set here.
Pinto is ready to check into the game, as is Russell.
Nice job of
Maddie
Shear. Going to the other side of the rim. Shear's kind of gimpy here. And pay attention to that in the second half. You know, she got clocked in her head in the first minute of the game here, so keep an eye on her.
It's, of course, the last thing the Oregon Ducks need, right? Because they have so many players who are out and injured. We mentioned Tahina Pau, and then, of course, you've got Taylor Bigby and Dia Rogers. They're both out as well. And the shot there doesn't fall, but the offensive rebound is caught. Bree Beal's shot didn't go, but they're playing 6 seconds left for the last shot. Destiny Henderson drives the lane and gets the layup to fall. And that'll do it for the first half here. South Carolina, wow, what a run to end the second quarter as they go up 44-26 at halftime. South Carolina in the third quarter, if they're going to be able to try to chip away at this, it's almost unimaginable that they'd be able to come back on this top team in the country with the defense that South Carolina has.
Well, they have success when they move the ball and change sides of the floor, especially with the dribble. They're not going to be able to get it into Sedona Prince off the first or second pass.
Maddie Shear taking the ball out of bounds. You make a good point there. It's not going to be that easy to get the ball into Prince. As you can see there, as she's being guarded by Kamila Cardoso, the transfer from Syracuse. Pinto goes in there and tries to make something happen.
Going to get Saxon with the body because Beal had a good block.
Sackton, that's her third foul. So she'll come out of the game. Kelly Graves trying to inspire his players. It's a daunting deficit for sure, but certainly plenty of time left as Pinto makes the first free throw. 5:47 left in the third. 55-29 lead here for South Carolina.
It's just tough for a team like Oregon when you have South Carolina that can just bring player after player after player, and not just player, but skilled player after skilled player off the bench.
Right, there's tons of talent as Elise Hurst tries to steal the ball. South Carolina a little bit of helter-skelter there, but Bree Beal is not. She's got control and makes the layup. Maddie Shear with the rainbow shot.
Nice
Nothing but
floater
net.
there. That one was, that'll bring rain down from the clouds. Nice pass. And even better hands by me here to catch that.
LA putting on a show there. South Carolina, their lead is cut to 28. You're right, it's a pretty daunting task here for Oregon, and they're not usually in this kind of situation. They were down double digits to Oklahoma. They, of course, came back, but this is 28 points, which is a different story. Official time here on the floor. Dawn Staley, you talked about how much talent there is, and Dawn Staley talked about managing it all, and we asked her, how do you manage all that talent? And she said directly.
Yeah, I mean, same thing as Gino. I mean, you have players that come in, and if you're good enough, you will show it and you will earn your time. But if you're not, You will do what you do best, and we'll put you in situations where you're allowed to do that, and you'll wait your time until you get better and you can contribute more. And I think that's always the best way to deal with the player. A lot of the players that come play for her say that's what I wanted to hear. I don't want someone to tell me I'm just going to come in and play right away. And the numbers speak for themselves. Her players get in there, they grow, they develop, and they go to the pros, and they're always in the hunt for a national championship. So why not?
Why not is right, and why not? Let's hear more from Danny Wexelman, who has more on Aaliyah Boston's parents.
I had to go up in the stands and find Aaliyah Boston's parents. They're from St. Thomas, Virgin Islands, but they came over to the Bahamas their very first trip here to see their daughter Aaliyah play, and I had to ask her mom, Cleon, about when she had to send Aaliyah over here to the United States, just 12 years old, to Massachusetts, to her sister, because that was the better opportunity for Aaliyah to come here and play basketball. She said that her and her husband Al try to make it to every big game in the United States, every big game internationally, and I asked, what's something that you can tell me about Aaliyah that I might not know about her as a person? And she said whether or not she has a good or bad game, she said that Aaliyah knows that God has a plan for her. She's deeply rooted in her faith, and I had to go talk to them. I wanted to know why this was so important for her parents to be here. And on top of that, she said Aaliyah will go home to the Virgin Islands, and when she goes home, that means she gives more opportunities to all the girls there to help them grow their dreams too. Jill.
Thank you so much, Danny. Just a lovely person Aaliyah Boston is, and one of the wonderful things is the storytelling that we get of all these players. They're so much more than just a basketball player. Aaliyah Boston with 9 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists so far, as she's having a great tournament.
Yeah, I like the way Destiny Henderson communicates with Sanaya Rivers, because you can tell watching her that she's a freshman and she's sort of unsure, and she's always, reassuring her, like that pass. Not necessarily a great pass, but calming her down and giving her some confidence. She's going to be one of the players they're going to need. And so she's getting real-time experience against a top 10 team.
When you talk about what they're going to need, they are always aiming for March, as the aim was just a little off for Lamie here. And all these top 10 teams, that's what they're looking for, aiming for March. As Hurst drains the three-pointer, and South Carolina's lead now cut to 25. Gino Auriemma talked about that. He said, of course, we want to win 3 games and win the tournament, as Oregon gets the steal. At least Watson.
I think most of these coaches, obviously, they want to win, but really more than anything, they want to measure themselves, against the top competition to see where are our weaknesses, what do we need to work on if we're going to do the things necessary to be there at the end in March.
Exactly, and if you win the non-conference tournament along the way, even better. Dawn Staley coaching every second of this game.
She was
a little hot there.
To us, Sanaya Rivers, and it's funny to me as a former coach, because I could just feel her frustration, but at the same time, you've got to give the kid confidence. You leave her in there, and you make the critique, and then you put something positive on it, and you leave her in there and hope she, the only way she can learn is by doing. So luckily for them, they're up by 24, and she has the opportunity to make these mistakes that aren't going to cost her team.
Those are called teaching moments. Plenty of them to go in basketball games, especially when you're folding in some young players. And
what they're really called is gray hairs. That's what they're really called when you're dealing with freshmen. But that kid's going to be a great player.
Cardoso, already a great player for this team.
That's like the third shot. They've been working so hard, her and Shea, and the great moves, and they just won't fall.
Yeah, that's the second time in a row a shot goes under the backboard for South Carolina. First Cardoso, and now Lamie here. Oregon's getting their opportunities. As you mentioned, they're not following. They're not getting the results out of their last couple offensive possessions, so they will get a foul here. That foul goes against Sanaya Rivers. Perhaps more of those gray hairs you're talking about. South Carolina still with this 24-point lead here with 2:52 left in the third quarter. A little entertainment for you here in the Bahamas. Fans have been loving this tournament, as we talked about a lot of marquee matchups. The winner of this game, again, plays UConn. The loser of this game will play either Buffalo or Oklahoma. That game is later tonight.
Either way you look at it, the 3 games that you play here are great for your team and great for your players, because a lot of times you'll tell your players to do certain, if we don't do such and such, you know, this will happen or whatever. And certainly you don't want to lose to learn a lesson all the time, but when it's there in real time, something you've been talking about a long time that they need to do better, and they see in this case, you know, where they need to be if they want to be a top team, it's always good.
Pinto drives and scores on the layup, and Pinto's got 8 points. Sedona Prince with just 4 points on 2 of 4 field goals. She's played just 12 minutes in this game because of foul trouble. Cardoso is not able to get her shot to fall, and Oregon getting to work on their offense a lot. Cardoso guarding Sedona Prince. Keep an eye on that. There we go, as Watson gets the ball inside to Prince, and she makes the shot on the baseline and one.
Cardoso likes to block shots with 2 hands, so I don't know if she broke the plane there or not. Oh wow, I'm not quite sure. I wasn't down there, so I'm not going to say yes or no, but.
You don't want to get fined is what you're saying, Helen. Off the back of the rim on the free throw attempt for Prince, but perhaps that shot will get her going, as she's had a difficult start again because she's been sitting on the bench. Turnover, South Carolina, and they've been getting careless with the basketball the last few possessions. Hurst from the right wing, count it! 3-pointer is good. South Carolina up 17.
Yeah, you got to do the small things. Mihir's got to come to the ball and catch it, get wide. Sedona Prince was able to just get around her because she wasn't making herself big.
Cardoso out on the wing to Hall. Hall's shot goes off the front of the rim. And Cardoso, boy, a little loose action there. A lot of hustle on both sides for that ball. Oregon winds up with its spin move pass to Prince, and a foul is called.
South Carolina foul number 15. Let's see Sean Lee here. Her first.
Foul is on.
I
believe that was a me here. It was. Pinto at the line. She's got a chance to cut this to 15 points with a pair of free throws. South Carolina had a big lead, 28 points early in the third quarter.
Well, sometimes it happens when you're trying to play different combinations and seeing what people have, you know, what you're going to try to use for later. Not always have that chemistry there, but needless to say, you're right. They have been kind of careless on these last few possessions down the floor.
Oregon with the three-quarter press, and South Carolina wanting to make sure they take care of the basketball here with this 15-point lead. Nice pass inside to Cardoso, who's fouled, and if that goes on Prince, that's going to be her fourth.
Oregon foul number 32, Sedona Prince.
It was her fourth foul here with 67 seconds left in the third quarter, and that is certainly difficult for the Ducks as Che is going to check into the game.
Number 15, Filipina Che returns for Oregon. Kamila Cardoso on the line for
Sedona Prince has played just 14 minutes in this game because of foul trouble. Now the Ducks will need to try and keep chipping away without her for a bit. If you're coaching her, how long do you keep her on the bench?
Well, certainly I wouldn't put her back in. You know, there's only a minute and 7 seconds left here in the third quarter. Just see how the fourth quarter goes. If you're able to continue to cut down that lead. If you are, you would bring her in earlier. Later, but if you're not, you bring her in earlier. So it's just going to be a feel for Coach Graves. He knows his players.
Beal running the floor, kicks it back out to Cook, who will set up the offense. Cardoso to provide the screen for Cook. Free throw line jumper doesn't fall. Che knocks it back in. Cardoso gets it back.
Cardoso has to be stronger with the ball. There are about 3-4 times where people have taken the ball away from her. She's got to be stronger. I know Destiny Henderson was trying to help her, was trying to explain that to her earlier here a few possessions ago.
Off the side of the backboard for Hurst. Cardoso, of course, at 6'7", Dawn Staley says, you know, she's probably going to be the future #1 pick in the draft. She's like, but I don't want her to be picked just because she's 6'7". She wants her to have an all-around game that she's working on, and a lot of that has to do with, she said, we want her to get her to know the nutritionist well. We want her to get to know the strength and conditioning coach as well. We need to work on all parts of her game on the floor and just make her a well-rounded player so that she's not picked just because she's 6'7", but because she's got that all-around game.
Well, that's her goal for her, and the other goal is to make her the top Brazilian player, on the women's national team, and to have her be dominant as a top Brazilian player. So they both have a lot of goals for her.
She is certainly a talent.
Zia Cook has been really big for South Carolina with her 20th point here. 6 for 9 from the field.
South Carolina 63, Oregon 48.
South Carolina with the 19-point lead, 63.